In this edition of Southern Newsweek, the first of approximately 90 cruise ships arrives in Dunedin. Alexandra hosts the New Zealand Merino Championships. And a Queenstown pharmacy celebrates 150 years of business. Hi, I'm Melissa Barton. Last week, Dunedin's Port Chalmers was graced by the visit of the cruise ship Golden Princess. The arrival marked the start of a very busy season of cruise ships visiting the southern region. The South Today found out more.
The Golden Princess cruise ship brought about 2,500 visitors into Dunedin today, who enjoyed the sunshine while exploring the town.
We come from Perth, Western Australia, which is dry. Our green is more grey. And this is absolutely magnificent with the colours and stuff around the place. It really is.
It's just that I always wanted to come to Sydney, and we came over to Sydney, and this was one part of the cruise, and it's another country. So we got two countries in one stop, and just wanted to travel and see pretty much all over the place.
Dunedin can look forward to a lot more cruise ship visitors over the next 6 months. While the arrival schedules are at the mercy of storms and other setbacks, Port Chalmers can expect just under 90 ships arriving, many one day after another, and in about 20 cases, 2 in port on the same day, bringing almost 200,000 passengers over the entire summer season. The next cruise ship scheduled to arrive is the Nordam at the end of this month. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Contractors in Queenstown were busy cleaning up after a water main burst and flooded several streets last week. Businesses in the affected area may have to put up with repairs for up to 2 weeks. Mina Amso reports.
Workers were busy in Reece Street in central Queenstown today, clearing up silt left after a water main burst. Some business owners were also in clean-up mode.
Well, we kind of had to shut the shop for an hour and a half last night.
The water pipe burst at about 7 o'clock last night near the Reading Cinema. Tourists on the Queenstown waterfront had to tiptoe their way to dry land. Others were stranded in restaurants, some climbing over chairs to escape Madame Wu at the bottom of the mall.
I had to climb all over the seats and chairs and tables.
And some customers were stranded in Wilkinson's Life Pharmacy on the corner of Reece Street and Moore Street.
And we actually had a customer stuck in store with us for that time as well. No one could kind of move. Look at, wow, oh my gosh.
Water pressure caused street tiles to rupture in several places, and fire officers warned there was a danger of sinkholes. Queenstown Lakes District Council General Manager for Property and Infrastructure Peter Hansby says the pipe burst was significant, but the mall suffered mainly surface damage.
Mill main, so it carries a lot of water. It's under fairly high pressure. It's not the biggest main we'll have in the town, but it's certainly significant.
He says it may cost the council $200,000 to $300,000 to repair the damaged area.
We are working on an approach to adjusting the pressures within the town centre.
He says contractors are investigating the cause of the burst's main, but it was likely to have been a split plastic pipe that had come from a weak batch.
We have had some problems with, so we've had other failures in Queenstown. Around about 6 months ago we had the failure on Frankton Road. So this pipe is a little bit susceptible to splitting.
The pipe burst came at a bad time for businesses in the midst of the school holidays.
Our big worry is for the hospitality people here who normally have their chairs and tables out in the mall in the sun.
Businesses in the affected area may have to put up with the repairs for up to 2 weeks. Mina Amso, The South Today.
The New Zealand Merino Championships were held last weekend in Alexandra. New Zealand wool handling title holder Joe Henare was in attendance.
Outside, some of the merino flock waited to be fleeced by those competing in the New Zealand Merino Shearing and Wool Handling Champs held in Alexandra recently. As shearers bent over and pinned the sheep to remove their wool, the handlers sorted the clippings. The competition featured Joel Henare, a winner at the World Shearing and Wool Handling Championships held in Invercargill earlier this year. Henare began competing in wool handling around age 12 and has been commentating on it from age 14. He's originally from Gisborne but is now based in Alexandra with Peter Lyon shearing, and said he enjoyed bringing his knowledge into the practice.
$25 a kilogram, this nice white wool, and these are the boys and girls that do the job for 8 hours a day in the wool sheds.
Both shearing and wool handling events were featured in the program. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Police have released the names of the 3 people killed in a tragic crash on the Dipton-Winton Highway on Sunday, October the 8th. The victims were 28-year-old Samantha Shortland, her husband 28-year-old Jesse Shortland, and German backpacker 22-year-old Marina LaBelle, who had only arrived in the country on Tuesday.
Emergency services were alerted to the crash around 9:40 p.m. on Sunday, near Ladbroke Road, south of Dipton. Police have not yet released the cause of the crash as the serious crash unit investigation continues. The Shortlands' 2 young children survived the accident and were flown to Southern Hospital in Invercargill. Family have set up a Give a Little page to help raise funds for the children's future, which has already received nearly 100 donations. Jesse Shortland's aunt, former New Zealand First MP Rhea Bond, said today the family were overwhelmed by the support from the community. She said the community have been like a warm blanket for the family during this time, but she asked for media to leave the family to mourn while funeral preparations take place, stating they would like some space during this time so they're not re-victimising themselves and reliving it constantly. She also said her family feels for Marina Liebel's family and will be in contact with them in the near future. She said we feel for her family and understand what they must be going through. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
New Zealand's second oldest pharmacy and the oldest business in Queenstown has celebrated 150 years of service. Wilkinson's Life Pharmacy has been dishing out prescriptions since 1867. Mina Amso reports.
On the corner of Rees and the Mall.
Queenstown Mayor Jim Bolt unveiled the plaque on Queenstown's waterfront today, commemorating Wilkinson's Life Pharmacy's 150 years in business. Owners Bronwyn Judkins and Glenn Mitchell say it's pretty exciting to be able to celebrate such a huge milestone.
Previously we came in 99 and that's where I started working, so it just came before the flood of the 99, so in that time it's changed dramatically. It's always most recently been heavily driven by the tourist market, but we definitely try and still service and look after our locals, so there's still a component of that.
Mitchell took over the pharmacy from previous owners Kim and Marie Wilkinson last year and says things have changed since the early days in 1867 when German pharmacist Louise Hotop worked as a pharmacist at the dispensary.
Cocaine was available for eye drops, for example, as a local anaesthetic. The morphine would have been for the pain relief. Obviously, the reason it started up was the mining industry that was booming at the time, and obviously there was people who were in need of medicine, and this was the place to be.
20 years ago, pharmacists did a lot of manual work at the dispensary, compounding ointments and potions, whereas now nearly everything is manufactured.
We've been very aware of the history of the pharmacy right from the early days, and my grandfather bought the business from Lewis Hotop in 1920, and then we had it through until last year, 2016, so that was 96 years in the family and 32 years for Marie and I.
Wilkinson says it's quite rare for businesses to last this long, especially in a town like Queenstown. But he and Mitchell hope the pharmacy continues its legacy of good service and advice to the public for at least another 150 years. Mina Amso, The South Today.
Oamaru has been visited by an expert from the North Island who says that North Otago's moa bone sites are under threat. Dr Mike Dickinson from the Whanganui Regional Museum says the law needs to be improved in order to protect the region's archaeological sites. The South Today found out more.
The South Today has previously reported on the vulnerability of North Otago's moa hunting sites. Despite signs prohibiting illegal fossicking, it still continues, and visiting natural history curator Dr Mike Dickinson is concerned.
So one thing that concerns me is that there's a thriving trade in moa bones online. It is actually technically legal to collect and sell Moa bones in some circumstances. There's a loophole in the law that means they're not protected. They can't be taken from public land, they can't be sent overseas, but many people now seem to be pulling them out of caves or swamps, being deceitful about their origins and selling them for a quick buck, almost nothing really compared to what they're really worth. This worries me because I think Moa bones are part of our natural heritage that belongs to all New Zealanders, and it's just wrong to start trading them.
Dr Dickerson says a law change is needed to protect the region's Moa bones.
I think there's actually provision for the law, the Wildlife Act, which currently protects us from trading in native birds, to be extended to help protect Moa bones as well. And I know other fellow museum curators feel the same way, and we're hoping that we can make this happen.
Until the law is changed, sites such as Awamoa will remain vulnerable to theft. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Coming up after the break, we talk to people behind this weekend's Vogel Street Party, and an Otago Polytechnic student creates an award-winning bird feeder. Welcome back. Vogel Street Party organisers were hoping for a crowd of 20,000 people this Saturday for music, food and for the first time, a lighting installation from the Midwinter Carnival Trust. The annual event has become a beacon on Dunedin's calendar. Roselle LeBone has the story.
Two brothers, one a teacher at a gifted school program and a hydrographic surveyor, are the team behind this year's Vogel Street Party. They're busy warming up their instruments before the big day. This year is going to be bigger than ever.
We started off thinking we might pull 1,000 people. We got 10,000. Then we got next year we got 15,000. So this year we're really hoping to push it and get 20,000 people if we can.
Brendan is a teacher at Paikiki Kids and Simon works offshore. But once a year they come together to throw the annual Vogel Street Bash. Simon is headlining the event and will also be performing in a second band.
Our band, the Rinky Tinky Jingle Jangle Jazz Club, is playing at the Dog with Two Tails on the Thursday beforehand, so we get a bit of a practice there.
He comes and volunteers and I work with him.
I lift heavy stuff.
The event is alcohol free, which means they don't expect too much trouble from the crowd.
One of our major concerns is just making sure that with such a large amount of people in the area that we don't that property is taken care of, and that we're looking after and promoting the what is essentially a very historic area of Dunedin.
There is also much speculation there may be an answer about what will happen with music venue Sammy's at this year's event. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
Last week saw the Special Olympics Flame of Hope torch being carried through Oamaru. The torch will reach Wellington at the end of November for the start of the Special Olympics. The South Today went to meet the athletes.
There were sirens in Oamaru's main street, but the only fire was well contained in the Special Olympics Flame of Hope torch as it heads up to Wellington, where it will converge with another torch coming down from Northland, marking the start of the Special Olympics National Summer Games. Secretary-Treasurer of North Otago Special Olympics Sue Pennycook said the event has been a long time in the planning.
Special Olympics in general is a great organisation to be involved with. It's fun. These guys can't organise their own training, so it's great to go along with them and have a bit of fun and watch their progress, especially over the last 4 years. There's been quite a rigorous training program, and they've had to compete in a one-day event and a two-day event to qualify to go to the Nationals. So, and it's great to get the public involved with the fundraising. We've had an 80s disco and we're holding a golf tournament on Sunday the 5th of November. So yeah, it's all good fun.
North Otago is sending 6 swimmers, 6 bocce players and 4  10-pin bowlers to compete in the Games. Competitive swimmer Liam Bartley is looking forward to being there.
I'm representing North Otago Special Olympics, swimming, doing 2-5 free, 2-5 butterfly, 50 free and 100 free, and relay of course. So looking forward to it. Got all my family coming, so it's going to be pretty sick.
The Special Olympics begin in Wellington on the 27th of November. Liam has some words of advice for those competing.
Just go hard or go home.
Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
An Otago Polytechnic student has won $5,000 for a high-tech bird feeder. Harvey Penfold won with his design skills and use of their Polytechnic's 3D printer. Roselle LeBone has more.
Design student Harvey Penfold has won the 2017 Audacious Business Prize with his innovative bird feeder. The feeder has already been installed in gardens around the North East Valley.
The way it works is that the platform is able to be slid onto the waratah, like so. It's held in place with a small bolt here to set the level. Then the bottle feeder can be easily slid on.
A seed feeder hangs from the platform and a nectar feeder hangs above it. A motion sensor triggers a camera nearby to record bird visits. The platform has a sugar water bottle and hooks, so different feeders appealing to different birds can be hung from it separately.
You can also put lard and fat balls in, which are really good for silver eyes and things as well. And then this is a lovely little seed feeder that Top Flight put out. And you can see it's got some really nice little seeds in there for your non-native birds.
The bird feeder has to cope with the weight of a heavy bird such as a kaka, as well as smaller bellbirds. The feeders are a key component of the Valley Project's efforts to make North East Valley an unfenced urban eco-sanctuary. Mitre 10 has already sold 75 units of the feeder at its Dunedin store. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
The National Synchronised Swimming Championships were held in Invercargill this week. Competitors from around the world gathered at Splash Palace to showcase their skills. Sharon Rees has more.
Phoenix Synchro Southland brought a little jazz to Splash Palace during their practices. These Southland girls are among 150 competitors who have spent the year perfecting these routines.
Coming into the competition, they were a little nervous but really excited, and I think once they walk into the pool and the pool changes into the competition mode, they're even more excited, and especially with having the teams from all over New Zealand, and it gets real then.
There are 9 New Zealand represented teams in the competition and 3 international teams, which judges say bring a different flavour to the championships.
I think it's our largest ever nationals, and we've got representatives from not only New Zealand. I think we've got 9 of our 11 clubs in New Zealand represented, but we also have teams from Sichuan in China. We have 2 teams from New Caledonia as well, so it's great to see you get that international flavour as well as the domestic girls, and it just lifts everyone. They makes them feel a lot better, and they're part of a bigger thing.
She says the calibre of talent coming from the international teams will be something to watch.
If you look at where the real strength of synchronised swimming is in the world, it's in Russia, and China's number 2. So this group is a club team from China, but apparently they are the champion team in the 9 to 10-year-old age group. And so, to be honest, I'm expecting to see some amazing synchro going on just from them.
The Open Free Combination Team event began yesterday afternoon, and events will be wrapping up tomorrow. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
Coming up after the break, Dunedin artists find inspiration in revolution, and our reporter Roselle LeBone meets a lonely donkey. Thanks for staying with us. The gallery at the Dunedin School of Art is currently showing an exhibition inspired by revolutions around the world. The South Today went and looked at the art on display.
The Art and Revolution exhibition at the Dunedin School of Art Gallery draws inspiration from revolutions around the world. Revolutionary wars are represented by some of the pieces. For instance, Neil Emerson is showing a work from 2004 entitled 3 Flags, which echoes the blood spilled in the war in Iraq. Jesse James Pickery contributed ceramic coffee beans to this work, The Green Revolution. He takes exception to the claims of international corporations that they own the genetic code to coffee beans, and he makes this clear by contrasting the bland homogeneous beans with the original natural ones.
There's organic beans based off the natural stuff, and there's the counter, which is our
manufactured goods which are stamped with the phrase. It's similar on this being very nearly substantially similar, so they're not the same at all. And they're laid out in regular formats, the artificial ones, and these natural dudes are to look as they've fallen from a seed pod and just falling out all over the floor. But it's just referencing that we don't have variety, we don't have a whole great amount of genetic information that can tolerate change anymore. And we exist in an incredibly changing time, climate and environment.
A lot of effort went into creating the shiny glazed natural coffee beans using traditional methods.
I've made the clay from Mahinarangi, went up to the Lake Mahinarangi, collected the clay, made it into a workable body, and have fired it in a raku kiln, Japanese style, where you heat it to 1,000 degrees, pull it out red hot and chuck it in a bin. Comes out with these incredible kind of lusters, and trying to get a natural aesthetic on a raku, not easy.
This work happens to be a collective piece, and Pickery found it beneficial to work with fellow artist Pam McKinlay.
I've worked with Pam McKinlay for the past 2 years now with collaborative works, and it's been a real struggle, but not less than the reward. It's actually been really, I've been able to explore things that I don't have the confidence to by myself, which has been really fortunate, because how else are you going to get the confidence?
The Dunedin School of Arts Art and Revolution exhibition runs until the 20th of October. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
The loss of Dunedin music doyen Roy Colbert is still being felt by those closest, particularly by his collaborator in the Tally Ho concerts, Graham Downs. Colbert and Downs worked together on the first concert and in the lead-up for Tally Ho too. However, Graham Downs has had to sail the ship alone since Roy's passing and is determined to make the evening a success for his friend.
Tally Ho, Tally Ho. Tally Ho 2 is the second event showcasing New Zealand's music that's being coordinated by Verlaine's frontman and music lecturer Graham Downs, and runs to a formula created by him and Roy Colbert.
That was always the structure that Roy envisaged, was kind of like the proms, a Dunedin prom. So it starts with Tally Ho and it ends with Submarine Bells, everything else in the middle.
However, this second event is tinged with sadness, as his co-conspirator Roy Colbert passed away earlier this year. Although his guidance is being greatly missed, Downs says Colbert was working with him right up until the end.
It was a great loss because he was a fantastic sounding board. But he'd heard all but about 2 of them in digital before he passed away, so he knew pretty well what the concert was, what the songs were like and how they were shaping up, and imagining how it was all going to sound.
As Downs said earlier, the show ends with Submarine Bells by the Chills, a fact that Martin Phillips of the Chills describes as a great honour.
I wasn't aware that Submarine Bells was going to be the closer again until quite recently, and I think it's quite an honour. But certainly I was pleased how well it went on Tally Ho 1, because it felt quite extraordinary, and I thought, was that just me who felt it like that? And then obviously the feedback I got afterwards was, no, that was really special. So it seems appropriate, and I don't think by any means it means it's the best song or the best of Graham's interpretations of our songs or anything, but its place as a closer just feels right.
Tally Ho 2 is set to feature a host of notable musicians from around a large sphere of musical styles. The event is at the Dunedin Town Hall on November the 4th. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
And finally today, Dunedin resident Pim Allen has decided an empty paddock is no place for a lonely donkey. She's looking for a suitable equine companion for her 2 pets, Hoti and Travis.
Calling all donkey fanciers, 15-year-old Hoti and 4-year-old Travis are looking to win your heart. Travis and Hoti have been inseparable since the first day they met. Owner Pim Allen says they make great pets, are relatively easy to care for, and are gentle and intelligent.
Well, they do take a bit of work. Like any equine, they need their hooves picked out regularly, they need to be fed properly. I think some of the neighbours think we're a bit mean because they've got a fairly sparse paddock, but donkeys are adapted to live on the edge of deserts, and so if you put them in a big lush green paddock, they just eat themselves silly and get fat, and that can be dangerous for them.
While they love each other, the pair are looking for more companions, and Ellen says she's received much interest from other donkey owners in the area since she first put the call out. Ellen has managed to train her donkeys, coaxing them into their float by touching their noses with a tennis ball. But they weren't always so willing.
And if they trust you and you can show them that whatever you're asking them to do is okay, then they'll generally come round and decide that they'd like to do it. But it's very much their decision.
Ellen says the donkey's reputation of being stubborn is unjustified, but they certainly got up to mischief when the South Today appeared on the scene. They say never to work with children or animals, and that was proven when this donkey ate my lapel mic and overturned my camera. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
That's all from us this week. You can go online and check us out on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter, or you can keep up with Southern News via our website, channel39.co.nz. I'm Melissa Barton and thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.